For ThirtyAndNerdy.com, I'm Matt.
I'm Gina.
And welcome to our, I guess, it's a Walking Dead podcast. We know that much. Mm-hmm. This is going to be about the first 3 episodes after the mid-season break. Mm-hmm. So episodes 9, 10, and 11 of The Walking Dead Season 5.
But this is Season 2, Episode 4 of 30 Nerdy?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, of our 30 Nerdy podcast serise.
Episode 4? I don't even know.
Yeah, episode 4 of Season 2.
Okay.
We just made that super
Sounds good.
confusing. Yeah. Before I hit record, Gina was like, do you need to look up the character names or anything? Because you just... And I'm
we always forget. We always like, oh, what's this? What's that? Yeah. What does this do?
I know the characters, right? Like Rick and
the zombies.
No! Handlebar mustache guy.
Abraham.
Glenn.
Yeah,
Glenn. And Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Michonne.
Mm-hmm.
Carl.
Carl.
Who else? Who else is in the show now?
The chick who was with the governor, who's now like their buddy, who lost her sister. I don't know her name though. What's her name? She lost her girlfriend, and she like switched sides, and she became good. I have no idea what her name is. Crap, I'll have to look it up.
That's all right. Norman Reedus.
Daryl? Carol?
Daryl and Carol. Jeez. I love this show. I love it so much.
That just shows to you how involved we've been this season. That just shows you how, connected we've been with these characters.
I'm not going to begin ragging on the show like too much. I have much enjoyed these past 3 episodes.
Much enjoyed.
I've enjoyed them much. Yeah. Anyway, so we got episode 9, which is called What Happened and What's Going On. We got episode 10 called Them. And then episode 11 called The Distance. And, but I guess before we get in this, spoiler alert. Spoilers. The whole episode's going to be impressions, thoughts, spoilers when necessary, and we're not holding back, so if you haven't watched them and you don't want anything spoiled, you should probably skip this podcast.
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay. So we come back from our mid-season break, and immediately we're put into an episode where one of the main characters in the series dies, right?
Well, it's picking up from when Beth died in the last episode before the mid-season finale.
Oh, yeah.
You forgot about her.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Beth died and didn't really seem to care.
I felt nothing.
Oh, yeah. They tried so hard to get you to like her in the last couple episodes and to have a connection with her so that when she died, you felt bad. But it was just like, it didn't work on me. I was just like...
It didn't work on you.
She's still a lame character.
Yeah.
I'm not... knocking the actress, because I think the character herself was just a very bland, boring character. I think she did the best she could with what she had, but it wasn't a lot. She was a very one-dimensional character, didn't really have, she was really annoying, really immature and bossy, and so when she died, I was kind of like, oh, well, we kind of saw it coming, because they were focusing too much on her. She had way too much attention, and so we're like, something bad's gonna happen. Something's bad, and then we just knew when she died, and I was like, oh, well, okay. I felt more bad for, Daryl, because he was like, I was protecting her. That's when you felt bad, and for Maggie, because it's like, she's missing, so they don't see her. She finds out, oh, she's alive, and a couple hours later, oh, she's dead.
Yeah.
So I felt bad more for the people around her than for her. Anyways, continue.
I know, I was going to say, I remember I called it to myself. This is what I told myself, that from a production standpoint, as soon as she got knocked around too many times and she had those big old stitchy, the big old stitch wounds on her face, I said, they're not going to do that makeup on a week-to-week basis and then apply scars to her, over and over again.
Too much.
Yeah, too much. Yeah, they were, having a green screen out, what's-his-head's leg was, enough work, or cut it out, plan shots around it
but
and whatnot.
Herschel was worth it. Herschel was worth it. His character,
a great character.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, you guys are not going to apply scar makeup to Beth every single week. This is it. Mm-hmm. Although, I don't know. I think there were moments, look at this, we're going to talk about episodes 9, 10, and 11.
We're building up to that point.
We already derailed this. All right, long story short, I felt like I saw it coming, and then there was a moment towards the end of what would have been episode 8 where I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's going to make it out of this, okay. And then, boom, there she goes, and I was like, I knew it! I knew it!
Exactly.
Okay, so episode 9, what happened and what's going on?
I guess they're reeling from Beth's death. They're kind of sitting there. Maggie's still trying to deal with it, trying to cope with it.
Yeah.
We see that they're digging a grave. That's like the very first shot. Is
I
that
love the way this episode was edited together.
Yes, it was really nice. So like they're digging this grave. You see the shovel, getting the dirt. They're pouring it over, whatever. And they're also trying to help out. See the new kid. Who's the new kid?
Limpy.
What's his name?
His name Limpy.
All right, so Limpy, he's telling...
I like him.
He's okay.
All right.
They had to get rid of Tyrese in order.
Yeah.
That's what happens in episode 9. They get rid of Tyrese.
Should
to
we
keep
address
him.
my theory at some point?
Well,
I think we need to.
Well, absolutely, because I've seen several memes on it online that confirm it. That everyone, other people definitely noticed that the Walking Dead can't handle people of ethnicity very well. So we're grateful Glenn's still around.
Yes, I developed this theory actually a while ago.
Yes, seasons ago.
Yeah, seasons ago, where basically there needs to be whatever the Walking Dead production deems like a how do I word this? They have a certain ratio, of like ethnicities, ethnic diversity in the cast, and so whenever they introduce a new African American character, they need to kill one of the other ones off because you can't have too many on the show. Mm-hmm. And there's
Noah.
There you go. How do we forget that name too? He's Noah. That's gotta that means something, right?
So we're trying to figure out. So Noah.
So Noah's on board. So Tyrese had to die because Noah's black and Tyrese is black, right?
Okay.
Should I say black or African American?
Getting beyond that. So Noah had a mission. Him and Beth were going to go to his hometown to see if his family was still alive. He lost his dad, and he was going to go see if his mom and his brothers were still alive. So they decided to kind of pick up where that left off and head to Virginia, outside of Richmond, I believe.
Wow, how do you remember all this?
I remember.
Wow.
I don't remember just food and and fart jokes.
Oh, okay. I don't know any fart jokes. I am the fart joke.
Yeah, I know. Right before the podcast, he looked at me and said, I haven't farted on Puppy in a while, huh? Because he likes farting on our dog.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. You love it. And the dog just looks at him.
Anyways, Walking Dead. I had to establish my dominance.
Yeah, there you go. He was being the alpha male.
Can you imagine what would have happened to Glenn a long time ago if too many Asian people ended up on this show? Like Glenn, they would have, I don't know where his character's at in the comic books, but if he's not around, he definitely wouldn't have survived all this time.
No, yeah. All right, so
Anyways.
So they go to try to find Noah's family. And they get to this community and they find out that everybody's dead. And at one point, Noah races back to his family's house to see, exactly what happened. He wants to see, I guess, their bodies or have confirmation or whatever it is. And during the time that they're in there and he sees his brothers and his mom, Tyrese gets bitten.
Yeah, and also Tyrese tries telling him, like, you don't need to go in there.
Yeah.
You don't want to see it. We shouldn't be in there. And Noah goes in there, and Tyrese, being the great guy that he is just follows after him. He's got to protect him.
Yeah, and he goes in first. He goes into the house first to kind of do, take a look around and whatnot. But the majority of the episode centers on Tyrese and seeing people in the group who have died, and him kind of just coming to this realization about death and how he shouldn't be afraid. And he sees, he sees the governor. He sees that weird thuggy guy that he said he killed from Terminus.
Yeah.
And he's talking to him. He sees Bob. Bob talks to him. And he sees the two young girls that Carol killed one of them and she killed her sister.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of comforting him, letting him know, hey, it's okay. Don't worry. He's there bleeding, dying. He's by himself because Noah went to go get help. But he's kind of just reflecting on realizing that, he was never one of those people. He could not be a murderer. And he's just not fit for that world. And I think that's what made it nice, because he's not. He can't kill. He can barely protect himself against walkers. He does in the moment that he has to, but he's not one to just go down to, the wall or the gate and just kill them randomly because they're being too loud. He's not fit for that environment. And so it's nice that it centers on that, but I felt it was really odd to try to get such an emotional response the first episode back when we haven't seen it in a couple months.
It almost worked on me. I felt like I don't know, just with the other characters, like talking to him, like you were saying, and telling him it was okay, and that stuff with the radio and him explaining conversations that he had with his dad about it being your duty as a citizen of like the earth to stay in touch with like the news and current events and stuff like that. Like I thought that stuff was like they were pulling together like enough emotional threads, and then especially by the end of the episode when you realize that despite chopping off his arm and all this other stuff, that the grave that they were actually burying was his, when we assumed it was Beth's, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like they came really, really, really close to kind of making me tear up a little bit or something like that. Way closer than they did with Beth. But like I said, that was different. I like Tyrese's character a lot. I thought he was like one of the last good guys.
Yeah, he was like untainted almost.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to do right, and he wanted to hurt as few people as possible and wanted to get as little blood on his hand. But I just feel like when you haven't seen the show for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and you've been detached, and somebody just died in the last episode that was supposed to be like the big finale or like have a big impact, to all of a sudden kill somebody else off who didn't have as big a role.
Yeah.
It just didn't have an emotional effect. Like, I wish they had either waited a couple episodes where you're getting back into the groove, you're seeing these characters every week, and it's like, oh man, Tyrese, he died. He was there for the past 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Or if it had happened before the mid-season finale, and again, you had been seeing them on a consistent basis, he was just kind of, a casualty in whatever was going on beforehand. It was bad timing, I think. On its own, it was a decent episode, but I just feel like it was bad timing on how to bring up the death of another character.
They had an agenda.
Oh, there you go. They had Noah, and they had who's the priest? Aaron, is that his name?
Yeah. Can you imagine if they had to frame a shot, let alone a scene, where Noah and Tyrese and Aaron the priest, if that's his name, were all talking to each other? That would have been 3 African Americans
plus his sister, Sasha.
Oh my gosh! Can you? Yes. Just too much for them to handle. They probably couldn't have figured out how to light the scene, and I always hear that. All right, I'm being so sarcastic.
That is so terrible.
I'm being so sarcastic right now. I do. No, I truly, truly, truly believe, as horrible as it sounds, that they are trying to I don't want to say even out the ethnic diversity in the show, because there's way more white people than there are Asians and Hispanic people and African Americans and things like that.
Gabriel. Sorry, that's the father's
name.
name.
Gabriel. Sorry. What do we call him? Aaron?
Aaron.
I feel like they keep their tit for tat with it. Can you remember some of the other examples that I was thinking of? Like
T-Dog.
Was T-Dog killed off when Tyrese was brought on board as a reoccurring character?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then when T-Dog came on board, was he one of the ones from the beginning, or like when he came on board, did they kill another? You remember? Okay, so then what was it? So Bob died because the priest came on.
That's right.
And like, if you look at the history of the show, it keeps happening. Black person comes on, black person gets killed. Like,
I think Sasha's kind of lucking out because she's female and she came along with Tyrese. So it wasn't like one for one. 2 of them came on. Yeah. And then there was that part where they were in the prison and they had a couple of African American inmates that they found, like in the cafeteria and whatnot. And they got killed off almost immediately. Yeah. They were only there for a couple episodes and they were all gone.
Michonne's such a mainstay in the series at this point, though, that if they bump into a potentially reoccurring African American female person in this town that they're going to be in, was it episode 12? I think Sasha's got to watch her back.
Because she'll be gone too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that sword is keeping Michonne alive.
Yes.
Her awesome attitude.
Yes.
Like, Sasha again, her character is getting a little bland too. She went through her emotional stuff with Bob, and then she lost her brother. She's going a little crazy right now, a little intense, but I think her time's coming too. Yeah. She's just, her character's not developing. She's not going anywhere. It's going to be time to,
When you look at Michonne on the show, do you ever look at her dreadlocks and her little, what's it called, a bandana? Whatever holds them in place. Like, do you ever look at it as the hairpiece that it is, as the wig that she wears? Because remember when we saw her in real life and realized she actually has like a nearly shaved head, like a very short amount of hair. And then it was at that point in life when we went to that convention, the comic book and sci-fi convention.
LA,
yeah. And so now sometimes when I look at her, and I don't let it like ruin my immersion in the show, but I'm like, I know that's not real. Like, why are your dreads always nice and clean and perfect and not necessarily growing,
Oh, God.
But I haven't looked back at the show. Like, maybe she has different, like, dreadlock wigs that she wears where they are actually making them longer,
We should check that out. We should
absolutely. Just to see if they're making them grow or if they're not.
But I like it because it's the character. The character has that hair, not her. And so it helps me to separate them. I like that they do that. I like that, when you do see her outside and, whatever publicity she's doing, yeah, she has her shaved head and she looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like she can pull it off.
She's cool. I like Michonne's character. She's definitely one of my favorite ones. Well, okay, so Tyrese died. I felt like they did as good of a job as they possibly could with making it an emotional finale for his character. I thought he had one of the best send-offs that any of the characters had in regards to getting their very own episode,
Oh, yeah. He had a whole episode to himself.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want to move on to episode 10 then? Them.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. This episode, aside from the barn scene, is a bit of a blur to me, so I might need you to refresh my memory as far as Rick and those characters. Rick and those characters, they ended up in a barn.
It was a much slower episode.
Yeah.
Which I believe you really liked.
You did
Just
too.
to let you know.
You did too. No, I did. I liked it.
It was a solid episode. Again, it was a good episode. There was nothing really wrong with it. It was just, again, coming back from mid-season, you're only one episode out and you're already going into like a somber slowness. It's like...
Oh, I remember some of the stuff now.
Yeah, I'm like, I felt like it should have been a little faster, a little more, action-packed. Yeah. And then the somberness comes later, where you're like reflecting on the past couple episodes, like, oh, this was awesome, this was great. And it's like, okay, well, it's like it's still ramping up to whatever's going to happen either in the next episode or in the season finale, whatever. But it's still climbing and it hasn't quite gotten there yet.
No, but the reason why this episode was so somber and it was so slow is because the characters are literally walking and starving. Yeah. And Daryl's eating worms that he's digging out of dirt. And what they're finding wildlife that's rotting and torn apart, and aren't there like the frogs streams are polluted and the fish were dying? Oh, the frogs are what I'm thinking.
Frogs are all belly up.
Yeah, they don't have any food, and there's those scenes where they're just walking down the road and there's the walkers behind them, and it's just kind of interesting showing them in that juxtaposition where if you just add some zombie makeup to them, they're shambling along just as slowly as the zombies are. The zombies are in better condition, arguably, than the main cast in this episode. And so it's really interesting. And and somebody presents them with water at a certain point, towards the end of the episode, 3/4 of the way through. Mm-hmm. Yeah, before they go to the barn, there's a note that they find. I forget what the note says.
From a friend.
Wow, you remember everything. I love it. Steel trap. I've got like this little waxy thing that's always just molding into different shapes and causing stuff to spew out.
And creating memories and creating facts. And I think there was balloons in the episode.
There was balloons. The water bottle came down on a helium balloon, and the balloon, right? No, that didn't happen. So the note said, from a friend. Nobody trusted the water.
They didn't trust it, but okay, now
what's handlebar mustache guy's name? Abraham. What's guy who lied about being crazy tech guy that needed to get to DC's name?
The scientist?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
What's his name? You don't know?
I look it up.
Scientist guy.
Anyways,
scientist guy was
desperate.
Like,
he wants to drink it, and I was kind of with him. Like
Abraham, though, he slaps that water bottle out of his hand.
Okay, I get that. Yes, they want to be wary, and they've been through a lot and stuff. But it's like, man, if you're struggling that much, and you're gonna drink poisonous water, you're either gonna die of starvation or you're gonna die from poisonous water.
He probably didn't care.
Go for it. Yeah, I wouldn't have cared. I would you know what? Just do it.
Yeah,
go for it.
But here's what they're showing. What they're showing with that moment, I thought, was, especially with the way that they cut back to Abraham and the reaction shot after it, was they're showing Abraham, despite everything, despite the lie that he was told for X amount of time, still cares about this guy enough to worry about his well-being.
I don't think it was that at all. I think it was totally dominance, totally like, no, you're going to sit there and you're going to listen and you're going to, follow the rules that everybody else is listening to now. I do not think in any way he was concerned for his well-being. He was like, no, shut up, get back, stay in line with the rest of us, and leave it alone.
If you watch that moment again after he slaps the water bottle out of his hand, and we play it back in slow motion, you're gonna see I love you, man. look on his face? Like,
No.
Despite no,
you're not.
No. Okay.
I don't think he will. I think it's very much him trying to take out his anger on him in a semi-legitimate way. It's like this, I have an opportunity to smack this at him, to yell at him, and I have reason to. I'm not going to hurt him, but no one here is going to stop me because I'm right.
Interesting. There was a lot of, excuse me, there was a lot of religious, what's the word I'm looking for? Not symbology.
Eugene,
Eugene scientist guy. Connotation, is that the word I'm looking for?
what are you referring to?
There was, in this episode, okay, think about it this way. Like, I don't remember specifically, but I feel like lots of characters were, especially with like the priest talking to Maggie and stuff like that, and they were talking about faith, and the priest offered Maggie, he said like you can talk to me about this stuff, and she basically said, yes, I was raised religious, but like I'm not sure that I believe in it anymore, and things like that. And then at the end, when they seem like they're in their most dire state, well, before getting to the barn, when they seem like they're in their most dire state, and nobody wants to drink any of the scary water, it actually starts thunderstorming for the first time in forever. And I just felt like, again, it was like they were looking up at the sky, and it was almost like the characters couldn't help but feel like the big man upstairs is
like there's finally something good happening.
Like this whole thing was like a test of their faith in a certain way. Like it was almost like one of those episodes where I felt like the writers or the producers were not like they were saying like there is God and God's watching after these characters in this zombie apocalypse, even if they don't believe in him. He's like, here's water, you're not, I got your back. But I felt like there was a certain element of like a in this episode you had characters questioning faith, and as an audience we were participating in questioning. I don't know how to describe it.
I'll agree with you slightly, because of the fact when Father Gabriel takes off his neck. I don't know what you call it. Yeah. But that symbolizes the priest, and he tosses it in the fire when they're eating the dogs. When the dogs attack him.
Dogs attack them. They eat dogs. That's right.
Yeah. Hey, they got meat. But
Data.
So he so I'll agree with you on that part where he definitely is questioning and kind of just abandons it and says, this isn't it. Either he's abandoning it altogether, or it's being reshaped for him, where he can't be a father in this world. He can definitely be spiritual or faithful, whatever it is his beliefs want to stem from, but he cannot be a traditional priest. So he gets rid of that. But I think it's more a testament of them as a group. Like in the very end, all right, maybe it's the next episode, where the stranger comes and approaches them and says, hey, I'm here to, say hi to you guys. I gave you the water, whatever. And he says, even without water and without food, you guys didn't turn on each other. You guys stayed sane. You guys haven't killed each other. You haven't abandoned one another. You're not fighting with each other. You're sticking together. You're roughing it out. And you're continually moving. You haven't stopped. You haven't given up. And I think it was more a testament of that. Like, okay, how are you gonna act when things get really rough? When they were at the prison, things were happy-go-lucky. They had a fortified wall, and they had food, and they had water, and they were getting more people, and they were, semi-happy and whatnot. It's okay, what's it going to be like when you're really, really struggling? Because we've kind of seen them, they struggled, but they've had, I don't want to say a fallback plan, but they've kind of had some sort of security for the most part all the way through. And this time it's like, nope, they're out in the open. They're probably low on ammo, no food, no water, nowhere to go. They didn't really have a direction. Yeah. They were just kind of going to the next spot where they might find something, until they decided, we'll go to Washington, D.C. And now when they kind of decided, okay, we'll go and check out this community you guys have and see what happens. But yeah, it's more just observing them and how they're still a solid unit.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I agree with all of that. I still felt like the writers in that episode wanted the audience to question the religion. What's the word I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say the word
connotation.
Yeah, how do you say it?
Connotation. Yeah.
Or connotation. It's like I know what the word means. I'm not sure that I'm saying it right because I don't know how it's spelled.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, and I felt like the writers wanted the audience to question the level of religious connotation in the episode.
Maybe.
It's almost, Yeah, and then like through that, it's I don't know. I felt like it was like this weird, almost like fourth wall breaking thing, you know.
Again, I'll agree with you slightly. Near the end of the episode, when, like you were saying, you're not sure if Daryl's dreaming or if it's real when it's happening.
Barn.
Yeah, it's the scene in the barn where all of a sudden you have this horde of walkers and they're making their way for the barn and they're all pushing up against the door and Daryl's there and he's trying to hold it and everybody comes together and they're all like pushing their way up against it so they don't collapse the entire thing. And then it just kind of stops and they're asleep.
Yeah.
And it's like you're not sure what just happened. Did he hallucinate? Did he dream?
And I hated that you couldn't tell. It really bothered me.
Because it's like, did they just go away? And then until, Sasha and Maggie go outside and you see, wow, this place was destroyed by that storm. They either got swept away, they got crushed by trees, they were drowned.
The zombies.
Exactly. Yeah. So in whatever case, they were eventually safe. So that I could definitely attest to be like, okay, maybe that was a test of some kind of spirituality or faith to be like, this looks like we're all going to die right now. There's no, either the storm's going to kill us or the walkers are going to kill us.
And the way that they did that also was, okay, so we know that the rain scene all of a sudden was like looking up at the sky like, oh, like hallelujah, you know, right? But then the fact that everything around them, all the trees, like you said, the trees and landslides and things like that had crushed and destroyed the walkers. It was like the whole area around that barn was destroyed, and the barn didn't get blown down, or no trees fell on it, et cetera, et cetera.
The walls were still up, and
roof was still up. Like it was another one of those moments that the writers wanted us to like question, like are like not like literally like are they protected, but it was another one of those. Is this just coincidence?
Yeah, I know.
You know, is it? I felt like they were trying to say something with every choice like that they decided to make. Like it would have been one thing if all the zombies got crushed and at some point a tree fell and like cracked through the roof of the barn and somebody had to dodge it. Like it would have been like okay, everything got destroyed there. No, the barn was untouched, and that means something.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. Because when they do walk out, she specifically says, "Wow, I can't believe." Like, look at something.
Like it was a miracle.
She makes a comment about how the barn was still fine, and it's a miracle they made it through the night or something like that. So that I will agree with.
And then also like the thing that's so fun to look at it is like as a viewer, depending on like your own personal beliefs and things like that, you could be like that rain coming down at that moment when they're with the whole water thing, like that's either a miracle or that's just coincidence. A thunderstorm was rolling in. The barn not getting destroyed, that was either happenstance or it was a miracle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they're each miracles, that's two miracles right in a row, And
then the creepy guy pops up and he's like, come with me. And it's like, oh, miracle or suicide mission.
Yeah.
So, next episode.
Yes.
What is it?
It's called The Distance.
He's going.
I don't know. Sorry. He's going for speed. Is it she's all alone in this time of need?
Wow, you know more of that song than I do. I know he's going the distance. That's all I know.
Yeah, right. Anyways, okay, so The Distance. I remember from the get-go in this episode, you were just like ticked off at Rick.
I know, like the first,
Rick, why are you being a jerk?
The first 20 minutes I was angry. Like I couldn't even shut up. I just kept making comments and I kept like sucking my teeth and I was like, I was like disgusted.
What do you do? You suck your teeth? What does that mean?
You like this?
You snickered.
Yeah, exactly. I huffed and I puffed and it was just like I was annoyed for like the first 20 minutes of the episode, which is a good chunk of it. And I tried to shut up. I tried to like be quiet the rest of the way and just let the episode play out and give it a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I disliked most of that episode. I thought it was just...
the thing that I thought was funny, though, is it was when they were driving with that new character. Do we know that guy's name?
Yes.
New character. when they were driving with the guy...
Adam?
Sure. Yeah, that supplied them with the water. They were driving with him in the car, and they were taking, like Route 23 versus 16, which he suggested, because Rick's got to be, like super, super, super careful about how they're approaching this town, the guy supposedly, the fortified town he's from and whatnot. And they're splatting through zombies and whatnot. The show started getting kind of cool right then and there, and when they got out, and it's all dark, and they're fighting their way through the woods, like, it got really intense really fast, right?
Oh, that was a good shot. A good scene.
Yeah. What did you think about when, we'll call him Adam for now, Adam New Guy, when he met up with his partner Is it Adam? You're looking it up. Or is it Billy?
I haven't found it yet. Billy was...
Is it the other guy?
Eric was his boyfriend. I can't remember the
Eric,
name.
yeah. That's what I was going to ask you about. When he meets up with his, we'll say for now, his friend, and then as soon as he sees his friend, they embrace and they start smooching and whatnot, where you're just like, oh, because I was like, oh, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kind of got a little tiny hint of that when the flare goes up and he's freaking out. And when I was trying to decide what that flare meant, and I was like, oh man, does it mean that he's in trouble? Does it mean that he's dead? Does it mean that they're on their way? And I was like, oh, well, maybe he's freaked out because it's somebody that he cares. Like, if they are in trouble.
Oh, really?
Then they're either dying or they're dead or they're trapped or something. But I wasn't too sure.
Yeah. When that flare went up and he was freaking out, in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, he was bad. I knew it. Whatever plan he had in motion isn't going right. And the ambush that he had set is falling through for some reason. And now he's scared for his life because nothing's going right. And he's captured and bound and all this other stuff. And the last thing going through my mind was, even though they showed that there was one guy there, I always assume worst case scenario with this show now. And the last thing I assumed was that his friend, the other guy, is in trouble, and when they meet up, they're going to start smooching.
He's Aaron.
He's Aaron?
Remember I was like, oh, maybe the priest is named Aaron or something.
Oh,
I got their
the
names.
new guy's Aaron?
Yes.
What's the friend lover name?
Eric.
Okay, busted up his ankle.
Broke his ankle, yep.
Yeah. So, okay. Eric busted up his ankle.
Let's get back to the beginning of the episode. I want to talk about why I was so pissed.
Yeah, you're pissed off at Rick.
Yeah, Rick is just being so... Okay, so in your point of view, you were saying he's been hurt. They've been screwed. They've been attacked and dead. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So he has absolutely every right to be defensive, to be cautious. But it was just like... I think in my mind, it was like, all right, they've already done the cannibal story. Can't go that way. They've already done the governor, community, psychos, kill outsider story. Mm-hmm. They can't go that way. So in my mind, it's like... I don't really know what this storyline is going to be about, you know? Mm-hmm. They're coming across, again, a group of people who say they want to help, and we'll see where that ends up, because this is the third time they're kind of starting with that premise. And so it's like, okay, he's cautious, yeah, whatever, but he was just being a jerk. Like, he punches the guy out of nowhere. He's already surrounded by guns. He's got like 10 to 1. They're on him. He's not going to escape, and he just knocks him out. All right, fine. Trying to show male dominance, trying to show you can't mess with him, whatever. They tie him up when the whole group goes to see if his story is true. You know, they want to go find the cars and see if what he was saying was true. Mm-hmm. And he just keeps like attacking him, bashing him. And it's just like, in my mind, it was unwarranted. Guy hadn't done anything yet. Yeah, he may have had 10 people out there watching them to try and kill him or whatnot. But you would think they would have attacked him when Rick was alone with him. You know, I felt like it was all just... stupid anger, or he was kind of he had tunnel vision and just like, no, this guy is bad, can't be good, this guy is bad. And if he really was bad, either kill him or drop him off somewhere. Don't waste time putting up with him. If he was really that concerned, if his anger really was justified, yeah, kill him, leave him in the woods to die, or drive him out 10 miles and leave him there. Yeah. Don't put don't argue with your group about it. Don't put way too much effort into it. And then they come back and he steals the guy's food. He's like, this is our food. Whether we're going with you or not, this is our food. And it's like, dude, he was annoying me with his actions.
You were saying that, yeah, he/Rick and everybody's been through a lot, but you didn't feel like the writers and producers did a good job of conveying where all of Rick's rage was coming from in the way that he was acting. Because I would say to counter, just for the sake of argument, like the stuff that you were just saying, I would say, like, yes, like we need to remember Terminus. We need to remember, the little governor's community. We need to remember Rick biting some dude's neck because he was going to be killed and Carl was going to be raped. And I feel like you're saying, so like they...
Like, if that's the case, then don't bother with it. Like, it's just like...
But he's not in charge anymore. They have a democracy going. Like, Daryl's as important as he is. Rick can't just be like, we're killing him, I don't trust him. Because everyone's going to be like, what? No.
Okay, well then get rid of him. Leave him alone. Leave him in the woods. It's just like... It just seemed like he very much did not want to, but he was still going through the motions of, okay, we're just gonna assert our dominance and be like, we're tough. You're not gonna kill us. You think you're gonna kill us, and you're not gonna kill us. Just leave them tied up in the barn and walk away. Like, I understand it's a season and you still need a story for the next 5 episodes or whatever. I just feel like this was not going in a good direction. Like, I feel like it just started off shaky. It's still shaky. Hasn't found its solid ground yet. It started getting good when they were in the car and they were going up Route 23 and they found out, Michonne looks at these pictures and all of a sudden she's getting suspicious. I'm like, that was good. Yeah. That was awesome. When she asked him, why are there no pictures of people in this? Which I thought was great. It was like, okay, cool. She's not feeling so soft-hearted. She's getting a little suspicious. She wants answers. He can't really answer them, and then they find that whatever he was using to listen to them, and they find out, oh crap, this isn't safe. They know we got to stop, and then they get stuck in the woods and whatnot. That was awesome. That was a good build-up, but it's just like it's taking a while to get there, and I feel like it's kind of dragging.
Yeah, I've been Team Rick since the get-go, and I know it's whatever. He's like the main character. Well, no, because we got Team Carol and Team Daryl, and some people are on Team Carl. Oh. Yeah, right? Anyways, I've been Team Rick through thick and thin. And what I'm afraid that they're going to do, from like a storytelling perspective, is Rick is going to stay the one now in the group that is the most hardened out of all of them, emotionally shut off, not going to trust anybody. And then you're going to watch everybody else around him melt a little bit and soften up a little bit and paint him as the extremist bad guy gone over the edge, emotionally in the group and whatnot. And he's going to be the one who is right the whole time. And I feel like that's the card that they're going to play this season, is if we would have just listened to Rick and we would have just left this guy alone and not gone into this town, everything would have been fine.
But see, I feel like they did that with Terminus. Because when they left Terminus, when Carol broke him out, he wanted to go back and kill him. He's like, no, we can't. We can't leave them alive. We need to go back. We need to finish the job. We need to make sure that they don't get to anybody else. And they're not going to come and follow us. And they didn't. And they did follow them. And they killed Bob. And they attacked him. And they went and they all got brutally murdered, which was a great scene. But
Rick's sick of this crap happening.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't bother with it. If you are that sick of it, it's just like, I feel like I said, I understand that it's a story. They need these episodes or whatever. They need something to continue on, like this journey of them. Mm-hmm. I just feel like it's not either being written well or portrayed well or something. I'm missing something. I don't like where it's going. It may end up okay, but where it's starting off is not right. And so, like, if they are going to play that card again, it's a little repetitive because they already did that with Terminus, where they were like, no, let's have a heart. Let's not be that. Let's not be those kind of people. Yeah. Let's not be those vicious, cold-blooded murderers, and let's just get out with our lives. And it's like, well, it came back to bite them because they did. They came back, they hurt him, they killed Bob, made him struggle a lot more. It's just, I don't know where they could go with this.
Do you remember what I was saying is that the one thing that they've alluded to and we've seen imagery of, but we still know nothing about, is when they found like that trunk full of heads with the numbers carved in them. And then there's people out in the countryside area, and wasn't it also alluded to when Tyrese was in the process of slowly passing away, and he was listening in the radio sounds were coming in and whatnot?
Yes.
I couldn't tell if those radio sounds were just almost like his life in the zombie apocalypse flashing before his eyes, and they were kind of accounting things that happened in the series up until that point. I think some of it was, but there was something in there about like maniacs traveling the countryside and this and that, and
carving the numbers.
Yeah, carving the numbers. Mm-hmm. Right, and then that's why I don't know if that was a standalone thing or if that's where we're going behind the walls of this next town.
It might be, because also in those radio broadcasts they talked about how they were also killing innocent people, like in some kind of weird psychosis or in paranoia, they started killing each other. Like they were just killing people who weren't zombies. So that might be something that they're going to address in this upcoming. Like, if you seem a little off or you seem a little weird, or maybe you're just trying to protect themselves, just start killing innocent people. But we'll
the one thing that we haven't bumped into yet, and the Terminus was probably close to this in a way. Like Terminus, they were cannibals. Like they were sick in that regard. We have not bumped into a straight up cult. What if it, like what I said, what if it's Terminus meets whatever the name of that city was that the governor was running? A place where, remember the governor Woodbury, sure, had that place where they had like zombies battling each other for entertainment and stuff like that. What if these people are sick and cultish and worshiping something dark and destructive and weird. Maybe it has to do with zombies. Maybe it doesn't.
Ooh, and they're like feeding the zombies or something, or
something, or I don't know if they're gonna go the route of like extreme death match, like the zombie version of it. But it's like
put them all in a pit and
people
toss
against
somebody in
people.
there.
But obviously something sinister is brewing here, and the fact that they still have not alluded to what's going to happen like really bugs me. Like I wish
like
we
the
could be
scenes.
binge watching the episodes now, like the rest of the season. I just want to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm still disappointed at this point. Where
Really?
I'm not looking forward to it out of anticipation. Where I'm
Really?
like, oh man, I'm excited. I'm like, oh god, this sucks. Please let something good happen. I'm just, it's the issue we face with every Walking Dead season, where there are so many parts where we're like, yes, this is great, but there are so many more parts where we're like, oh my god, dumb decisions, slow storytelling, dumb characters, and you're just like, you're waiting for it to build up. And it's like every single season we go through this, and now this is my lull at this moment right now.
Oh, you're in the lull?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, interesting. I feel like, I don't know if I'm peaking. I feel like I'm kind of at a high. Like I really, I mean, I don't think about this day in or day out, but when
lie awake at night thinking about what Rick's gonna do.
Zombies, how are the zombies gonna die? We're going to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Ew.
No, I really want to see what's gonna happen behind the walls of this town, and oh my gosh, I want to know, because also from a production standpoint, I want to see I haven't read the comic book, so what's written in the comic books that you're going to show us, I guess, for people who have read the comics. But for me, it is, what can you do that's not Woodbury, that's not Terminus, that's going to be genuinely interesting? Because I do not want to see a hybrid. I do not want to see
same storytelling, reuse stories.
Yeah, like where half the town's unaware of how sinister the town is, and the leaders are really corrupt. And I don't want to see cannibalism.
Yeah, we'll see.
There's no need for the cannibalism. Grow some soybeans. Is that soybean country? You get plenty of protein off your soybeans, no?
So, I guess, just wrapping it up for me on my end. That's, I don't know where it's going. I'm disappointed. I don't know how long it'll take to get better. I don't know what to expect. I hope they're not recycling storylines. And I'm annoyed with Rick. So, yeah.
You're annoyed with Rick?
Yeah.
My closing thoughts are going to be, I am eagerly anticipating this next episode. I'm really, really excited to see where it's gonna go. I am so Team Rick. I am more Team Rick, Gina, than I have ever been in my entire life.
Good for you. I'm glad.
Think about it this way. Like, do you ever walk the streets of LA with that little bit of, you ever feel like you got that little bit of Rick in you? That like, hey, strange guy in the corner, not trusting you. Strange guy down the street, not trusting you. Just everybody, stay away from me. I'm Rick.
Oh, no, I can't say that about exactly that feeling.
Oh, I feel like Rick. No, anyways. What was I saying? No, I'm really excited for it. Definitely still Team Rick. Definitely think that despite the harsh character that he's become, that everybody else is softening up, and he's the only one who still has his head in the game. And no, they shouldn't be in this town. And yes, they should just keep heading for the capital. And no, they shouldn't trust this guy. And I know everybody's tired and they want a place to take care of the baby and all this, but they're giving up. They're forgetting that the world has turned into an incredibly disgusting place full of sickos and zombies. Sickos and zombies. That's all that's there. That's all that they've ever really run into, except for...
Those are the ones who have survived. All the nice people have been killed.
And the thing that I think is interesting about them, I mean, I think the group that we watch, Rick and company in the show, like I think they're good people and that we're able to see that at heart. But I always wonder if to other people, if they just look like another band of sickos,
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They look rugged. They haven't showered. They're dirty. They're hungry. They're all toting guns. Yeah, I'm sure they do.
They've all killed people and this and that. Like, everybody is just clawing their way through this world, and Rick and company are no exception to the rule, and I'm so excited to see what kind of trouble they get into. You know what? The other thing that could be really, really crazy, okay? Mm-hmm. What about this? Here. I want to hypothesize the storyline here. So they get to the town, and the town is totally normal. But, like, what if DC itself is, like, really messed up, and it's, you know, turned into like this crazy military place where they're just trying to like quarantine X amount of miles outside of DC and whatnot, and their little village happens to fall within that quarantine zone of we're gonna go in there SWAT style and just lay waste to everybody. So it's about Rick and company, kind of like, I won't say partnering up, but yeah, whatever. With this town, trying to defend it from like actually like some sort of military force that's coming through for supplies and all sorts of other stuff that doesn't give a crap about who they are or what they've been through. So it's a man against man story, but for the first time ever, the town's normal and they're, you know, like I said, they're having to like battle DC. They're gonna go to DC and think that like, oh, DC, like we're gonna be safe here, when really, like, no, DC's fortified and wants, I don't know that they want anybody in it, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's true. They might be
they might have a shoot first, ask questions later policy on guard towers with sniper rifles, and
this is true. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I really don't know where they're going right now. That'd be kind of cool, but
they'd be different.
Yeah.
That might also be the final season.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, they still have a whole nother season that they're in contract to do. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what the next, I guess, remaining 20, 15 episodes have.
Anything that you want to see happen in this next episode? Like, I don't want there to still be a mystery in this next episode. If they want to build tension and build suspense in this next episode, that's fine. But by the end of it, I want to know what's going on there.
Yeah, because it'd be dragging way too long. You'd be dragging their feet. And it's like, might as well give us something to kind of salivate over or anticipate. So,
do you want to find out what's going on in this town in the next episode via some sort of like closing omnipotent viewpoint where we see one of the other characters doing something sinister that like Rick and company don't know about, that only we know about? So we're like, oh, or do you want like one of the characters that we know to like actually be the one to like stumble upon the town's secret?
Like I said, I don't know what to expect. Like, I don't know. It depends on what it is, but it's like I'm kind of tired of that. Oh, we see the bad guy doing something, but the group doesn't know. It's like I'm tired of that.
You're bored of it.
Yeah, it is. So it's just like I'm not.
You're not. You don't care about the fact that it could be considered kind of cool that it's not predictable. You're just so. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Just so tired with it that like you're just. I'm
kind of going with the motions. I want to see.
Let's watch us
up until the end of the season and see what's happening. But I am not. I am no longer invested in this series. So.
Okay, we know where we stand.
Yep.
Let's wrap it up.
All
right, so for 30andnerdy.com, this has been Season 2, Episode 4 of our 30 and Nerdy podcast series. I'm Matt.
I'm Gina.
You can reach us on Twitter at 30andnerdy with the 30 spelled out. We have an Etsy shop. We're like etsy.com/shop/30andnerdy. We got all sorts of like pins and bags and cool stuff there. We've got facebook.com/30andnerdy that we update regularly now. We've got our YouTube channel with some cool Resident Evil Revelations 2 videos that we've done recently. We have our 30 and Nerdy Twitch channel. We've gotten into live streaming and broadcasting a lot more, and we have so much stuff going on now.
Yeah, we're trying to get our Instagram and Pinterest back up. So for
Instagram.
It's a slow progress, but we're getting there. It's
just the two of us. We're just doing it all. We're just doing it. So yeah, every time you guys like the podcast on SoundCloud or YouTube or Facebook or anywhere, like anytime we get any of the support, we just wanted to let you know that like we see it and we really, really, really appreciate it and we thank you. So I guess that's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
All right. See you.
We'll see you next time.